since we're
Shut
all
up.
money whores and we're willing to bend over.
Hello and welcome back to The Thing It Is We Do. I haven't prepared a nice witty intro this time around. Sometimes I do that. Instead, we have Sophie and Manu.
We're happy you're alive.
Say hi.
Hi.
Oh, that's nice. I'm relatively happy that you're alive as well.
That's nice.
I feel
How many-
indifferent.
if you had to put it in percent.
I'd say a good 69.
Dude, that is pretty.
Yeah, that's pretty high.
That's pretty high.
That's a good
me wanna
number.
keep going for another week, actually.
Yeah, one of you is the 6 and one of you is the 9.
I'll let Sophie pick.
So it's pretty low.
Is that both out of 100?
Most percentages are out of 100.
Out of 1,000.
The good news is, whichever one is which, we can just flip you around and you'll become the bigger one or the less bigger one. Maybe you could both be 9s. I could be a 99.
All right. It's too late in the day for me to be playing around with numbers and maths, so
Quick muffs.
I'm gonna move on.
Well, I guess something we should address right at the beginning is I have recently had the spicy flu, the very bad flu. The thing that I'm not sure if we should mention, because I don't know how it affects monetization these days, but yes, I have had AIDS. Is that what you said?
Yes.
The spicy flu.
The very spicy flu.
It's a spicy one.
No, I had that bit of the old pandemic, a nice new variant. It still kind of has me out of commission, which is why my voice probably sounds a bit shit. It really hit me hard.
I feel like there was only room for improvement, Liam, so I'm very happy where it is right now.
It couldn't get any worse than what it was.
When you started at such a low level, thanks. This is what friends are for, you know? They really lift you
Cheer
up
you
in
up.
your moments of...
Cheer up the spirits.
It's okay, mate. You were worse before you were sick.
I think you need a few more rounds of the spicy cough.
Yeah, I think you need a few more variants. Go out and infect yourself. But yeah, for the last week and a half, I have been pretty much out of commission and have taken a sort of forced holiday. Except instead of doing all of the nice things like outside or relaxing, it's been me withering in misery in my home.
Did you just wither in your room? Was that your quarantine room?
No, I mean, I have the whole space to myself because my wife is actually visiting family in the US at the moment.
She timed
so
that brilliantly.
did not
Or
actually.
not
She's
very
getting her
because-
corona over there.
No, I'm afraid my wife got it from me and tested positive immediately after landing and had to isolate.
Fantastic.
So the worst possible timing, I think, yeah. Either that or Chantel gave it to me and then left.
And then just left. It's
that would have
like,
been a dick move, yeah.
Yeah. Not my problem. You fend for yourself.
One or the other, but I started showing symptoms first, so I'm assuming that I am the culprit somehow.
yeah, most likely at least. How did you get it? I thought you never
Yeah,
leave
how
home.
did it seep into your room through the like air ducts or something?
Did you not have an antivirus program, Liam?
Contrary to popular belief, I do actually leave my room from time to time.
Maybe a dog gave it to you.
Maybe, that is possible. I do leave every day to take my dog on a walk, which is a word I shouldn't say too loudly because it triggers him and he gets all like...
A walk? A walk?
Yes. But I think it happened when I went for a site visit for a show I'm designing in a couple of months. And then afterwards, we went to the Rocks, we had pancakes, and there were people. That's the only time I can really think that it would have happened. It correlates, you know?
See, Liam, that's why you made your mistake.
Yeah, I know, I left.
Seeing people. Yeah, that's...
People. I left the room. That was the big mistake.
The mistake is that you're not leaving enough to build up some sort of
Sophie
immunity against people. You know,
Sophie's
like,
strategy
it's like the
is
one time you
Sophie's
go out, it's
collecting variants.
Immunity to people is
That's
my
cute,
dream,
yeah.
and I will just never have it. As a result of my wallowing in misery, I have fallen seriously behind on channel stuff and also behind on Blue Banana stuff, so I've not really prepared a topic for this week. But what we're going to do is we are going to talk about what Liam has been watching on YouTube while he's been sick.
Yay!
nice.
Go.
I want to guess.
Oh yeah, guess, go for it.
I want to
yeah.
guess.
What do you
Alright.
think I've been watching?
I'm gonna guess. Can you watch porn on YouTube?
I don't think so.
I don't think so. I think there might be like really softcore stuff that kind of gets past every now and then.
Maybe like Game of Thrones stuff.
It would take a lot more searching than it's worth when you can just Google anything else.
All right, I'm going to guess what to do when you can't make YouTube videos and so that your channel doesn't die completely.
That's a very specific niche. No, but that was in my in my brain the entire time. You know what I used to do? What I used to do. This was only like a week ago. And I would wake up and the first thing I would say is, hello and welcome to the Grand Line Review, and just judge if I could record a video that day. And it was always no, because it always sounded like, hello, welcome to...
No video today. I thought you were going somewhere else with this. I thought like a week ago before you had COVID, you would say that every morning to your wife. Hello.
And welcome to the Grand Line Review.
Okay, no, I have a slightly maybe humorous story there. Years and years and years ago, I would say maybe 3 to 4 years ago now, when we were living in a different place, I got hit with like an actual flu, like a proper flu. This was before spicy flu. I got hit harder than I think this flu hit me. This COVID hit me. And I was delirious. Absolutely delirious. So I woke up
Like high
at
fever?
like 2 in the morning, and the first thought in my head was, because I was doing YouTube at the time, is, oh my god, I need to record today. Can I record? And so I did the same thing at like 2 a.m. in my delirious state. Just to make sure I said, hello and welcome to the Grand Line Review, which terrified my wife sleeping next to me. Rolled over. Liam, what the fuck are you doing? Are you trying to record a video right now or what? And I couldn't explain myself because I was just too delirious.
And
No,
you were
no,
like,
I was
yeah,
just
yeah,
testing.
yeah.
I was just-
Testing. 1, 2, 3.
These are
1,
the
2,
top
3.
best trees.
That's what that video. No, I'm pretty sure
think
that video came
you
out the one time
understand,
Liam
Chantal.
was smoking weed.
Gotta
That was when that video
review
happened.
Luffy versus Katakuri, the Mirror Wars.
It's the Liam Gets High Once a Year episode. 10 best trees in One Piece.
I didn't do the top 10. I probably could do a top 10 now. What was I talking about? Manu, what do you think I was watching? Because Sophie, I'm just going to say, you were wrong. Good guess, but you were wrong.
You watch some Charlie.
Not so much these days. A couple, though. He
Okay.
pops up every now and then with interesting topics.
Maybe you watched some. Well, if you want to talk about it today, it must be something spicy.
Yes,
right?
Sophie.
Set building.
No.
Oh.
But I like where your mind was at. I'm just going to say, because it's a very, very oddly specific niche that I don't think anyone's going to get.
Tomato gardening.
No, I hate tomatoes and I dislike gardening, so that's...
Tomato killing.
That's why you got into it.
It's tomato killing, yes. I have been watching reviews of first-class flights around the world, is what I've been watching.
So basically, Casey Neistat.
No, not Casey Neistat. Significantly lower budget. As soon as my wife left, I thought to myself, damn, I want to go traveling now. And so I'm stuck at home on my couch, perpetual misery leaking from every orifice you can imagine. And I'm like, I want to watch someone traveling around the world. And so I went down this rabbit hole of people reviewing first-class flights on various airlines. I'm pretty disappointed by first class, to be honest with you. For the amount of money some of those airlines are charging, you really do not get much more than, honestly, economy.
No, I think it's just a bit more fancy looking and leg space.
Leg space. Do you get a recliner?
Yeah, so the big selling point about first class, and I guess business class, because that's where it starts. I know a lot about this now. I know too much about this now.
Is you educated?
Business class is where the lie flat beds come into it. So you get a seat that can start like that and then become a lie flat, which is all that is the dream of traveling around the world and being able to lie down. Because I've been to Europe 3 times, but I've always been sitting up, and like those 24-hour flights, it starts to impact the old man back.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
I've really been enjoying that there's close to no tourists in Japan, because usually all flights from and to Japan are so scarcely booked out. Like, you have entire rows where you can just lie down, which has been very luxurious to do.
Oh, yeah. So we were flying, I think it was to London from Sydney once, and my wife and I, there was no one in the row with us. So it was a row of 3, and it was just the 2 of us, so that we could sort of lie down in a really uncomfortable, fetal manner, but it was so much better than what it would have been if, like, the row was taken up with a third person.
This is what happens. This is one of the perks of being short, is that you don't need much space to lie down. So even if there's one seat next to me, I can usually just lie down. And most of my flights, I've been lucky enough where, like the longer flights especially, I've had the entire road to myself, and all I'll do is I'll sleep,
dream.
wake up just for my meal, and then go back to sleep.
Nice.
And the meal's not that great, so the thing that I'm really waking up for is the ice cream, just the dessert.
Pretty good.
The way I'm picturing
the
you,
pasta's
Sophie,
good.
is I reckon you could lie down in one seat. I sort of picture you balling yourself up like a cat and just
Sort of like a little bug. What are they, like
I
a little
still
stink
can't
bugs?
wait to meet you, Sophie, and judge for myself.
Yeah, you may be surprised.
I'll be like, huh.
Maybe even shorter than you imagined.
You will be. Manu, you're significantly taller than me, and with Sophie, even I do this.
Am I significantly taller than you?
I think you are. How tall are you?
Are we sharing this now? All right, whatever.
3 meters high. Well, no, you can keep
180.
your height private if you want.
A bit over 180.
Okay, so you're like 10 centimeters taller than me.
Okay.
30 centimeters taller than me. That's a
Yeah,
full
a whole
ruler.
school ruler,
Yeah,
yeah.
whole school ruler taller than I am.
So you'd probably be under my shoulder. Kind of cute.
Yeah,
Under
like
the pit.
perfect
absolutely.
armrest.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so good. That'll be the podcast.
Don't do it. Don't do it. I may like gut punch you.
You
Or try.
It's true. It's perfect ball punching height.
I'm actually really jealous that you can sleep that easily on flights. Like, I couldn't sleep on flights for the longest time, but then I found out you can just take a sleeping pill, and that's what I...
Those are a bit dangerous though, because they can make you they can give you after effects of drowsiness. I would not be as keen on sleeping pills.
I'm someone that can sleep anywhere. I can really like fall asleep anywhere. Sometimes I can just sleep sitting down as well.
I'm so jealous of people like that. I'm like the exact opposite. I'm such a sensitive sleeper. Like, I need it to be pretty, like, almost completely dark, basically cool in the room.
Interesting. So just like our height, I am in the exact middle of the two of you. I can fall asleep on a plane, but it does take me a while to get there.
I mean,
But once I'm there, it's all good.
okay, well, I'd be the opposite. I can fall asleep relatively easily, but it's not, quality sleep. I'm also a sensitive sleeper in the sense that I wake up very often, but I also go back to sleep very often.
And I don't think anything is quality sleep when you're sitting upright on a plane.
No, yeah,
It
there's
just
not
doesn't
much
feel
quality
like you're
to it.
getting the good rest.
But it's good. I mean, even like just getting like 5 hours in or something, 5 rough hours, better than going through the entire night.
That's why
Yeah.
my dream for when I inevitably go to Europe again is to somehow find my way into at least a business class and get the lie flat bed. However, the prices are outrageous. Like the difference between economy and business class is
Yeah,
like sometimes
ridiculous.
5, 6, 10 times the price. Essentially, just so that you can lie down. And it's like, I can't justify that kind of money on many things in my life, let alone a temporary, 14-hour leg of a trip.
I totally get you. I've been really tempted. When I went back in February to Europe, I was like, okay, we're doing the YouTube money now, so let's look up how much
Use some of that best One Piece theory ever money.
Exactly. I was like, best One Piece theory ever money. Let's see how much a business flight costs. And I looked it up. And as you said, it was like 3, 4, 5,000 euros. And I was like, all right, economy it is.
Yeah, one way. That's one way as well. That's not return.
Yeah. I was like, I don't
That's
have
rough.
that much. We have to grind more theories.
So I was looking into this over the past week out of morbid curiosity because I have been watching all of these vicarious traveling things. And so I was looking at Emirates, which is the airline I always choose to fly to Europe because I think for the money you're paying, it is the best possible economy that you can go for. It's a little bit of a premium compared to a lot of others, but it's good. And so I looked into their business class and first class, and the difference between the two of them, price-wise, was shockingly little. Business class was almost as much as paying for first. And I was just like, what? Why? How shouldn't things be better? But at the same time, business is already so expensive. At the point that you're paying for business, do you just go, yeah, sure, I'll
Might as
fork out
well.
the extra
Whatever.
$1,000 for
Yeah.
first? But it gives me a real eat the rich kind of feeling. Because these products are made for people who see, the difference in $10,000 and $20,000 of a round trip. The same way that we would see the difference between, say, $10 and $20. Like, you know, may as well pay the extra $10 to get the
it's a bit
slightly better
nicer,
quality.
What's the actual difference between business and first class?
In terms of what?
Probably
Not in price, in
food,
terms of
more
in terms of what you get. Yeah.
It depends on the first class.
on the airline also.
Yes.
fair
So
enough,
there are
but-
some first classes, like, say, American Airlines. Oh, fuck me. I just realized I know way too much about this now.
I was like,
So-
please dive into it.
There are some first classes, like, say, American Airlines, where the treatment is abysmal for the, like, 10 grand you're paying to be there. And it would be better to, like, take a business class with almost anyone else. Like, American, not just American Airlines, but American flight carriers in general are, like, notoriously the worst. Meanwhile, if you were to get first class on something like an Emirates or Qatar, or what's the other big one in the Middle East? Etihad?
yeah.
Etihad? I
Etihad,
think,
yeah.
Yeah, you basically get your own private suite, essentially. Most of them have doors that you can close off with, like, full privacy, like little fully stocked mini bars.
There's like showers and stuff, right?
On Emirates, there is a shower. It is, I believe, the only first class carrier that has showers in their bathrooms currently. So you book time in this, like, little spa where you get, like, some shower allocation. I think it's like 5 minutes of water. And then they have all of these, like, expensive colognes and stuff you
but
can
only
wear.
5
they give
minutes.
you pajamas.
I think it's 30. I pull all my knowledge from the Casey Neistat video on it.
I think not, Manu. I think you should take
He's
my
been
word for
watching
this one.
20 videos a day on this.
I've watched an unfortunate amount of these sorts of videos at this point. Something that really started to get on my nerves was, like, the people reviewing first class and the kind of critiques they would give. Like, there was this one guy. I won't say what his name is, but he had a very classic thumbnail for a certain first class experience, and it was like, the most horrible experience of my life. It was titled something like that.
It must have been pretty bad.
Yeah, what do you think happened in first class to
The lobster wasn't warm.
gasp? Sophie, what do you think happened to elicit this kind of emotional
The shower was
response?
cut short at 4 minutes and 39 seconds.
Jesus fuck, how terrible both of those would have been.
That's a pretty tough day.
No, so you're both wrong. What happened is, one of the flight staff politely asked him to stop filming in the cabin. That's it.
What a terrible day.
That is
Really? And that was it?
That was it.
That's it. And he said that for the rest of the flight, it made him feel so uncomfortable and unwelcome.
Because he kept filming.
Yeah. And this poor flight attendant, I value my privacy, sir.
I want to make this clear. Like, he was allowed to keep filming, like, within his suite.
Right.
Just not outside in the cabin with the other passengers.
Right.
Jeez.
And that was worthy of the title.
Horrible.
The most horrible experience of my life.
Did it well, the video?
Yeah, it did very well. Like, all of the first class videos do super well because it's a vicarious experience. Like, I mean, I watch them all.
Do you think they make enough money that you could catch a first class flight based on the revenue?
I would say the average amount of views for something like that is between 300,000 to 700,000. So
no.
you tell me. I don't think it's paying for a first class ticket at all.
No.
In fact, I believe most of them have sponsors, and that's how they make up most of the bulk of being able to buy these tickets to review things. It really makes me glad that, you know, my job essentially just requires camera, microphone,
Yeah.
editing equipment, and not forking out like 10 grand just for one video.
I mean, I think, honestly, I do think it's fun to, you know, also, like, spend money on production and stuff. Like,
yeah, it is.
the vlog stuff I'm working on. It was fun, like, actually, you know, spending money, because I did I'm working on a video where I spent a night in the sleeper train in Japan, which was fun, but it cost money, right, also, and I think it's I enjoy doing it, but as you said, it's a bit of a luxury that, you know, our video content basically doesn't rely on us spending a bunch of money to make money. Though the big art project I'm doing right now begs to differ.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Tell me more.
I think I told you. It's also, like, on your recommendation, right? Like, trying to get rid of, like, the copyright problem. I found, like, an
Oh,
artist.
okay, right. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're trying to do what I did, which was...
Yes, exactly. I think we talked about this, right?
A couple of months ago, I basically hired like 6 or 7 artists to just draw One Piece characters for
yeah.
me in bulk so that I could build a library. That library is going really well. It has, I think it's approaching 1,000 images right now.
Wow.
The look on your face was the look on my face when I did my tax the other week and saw how much I'd had to spend on artists to get there.
Yeah.
I could have had at least 1.5 first-class flights with that money I spent.
Yep, that sounds about right. Yeah, it's probably even a bit more for me. But I think it's worth it at the same time. I'm very excited.
Yeah, I feel like it is so worth it because I just love having this library that is so convenient. I have pretty much every character in One Piece you could possibly want, with the exception of these really like super tertiary characters who appear in like one panel one time sort of thing.
Yeah, I think that's really cool. It covers a lot of, it's like multiple birds with one stone basically, because it's copyright safer. It is
Safer, yes.
Yeah, it gives your
Not
I think it gives the
safer.
channel it gives the channel like more personality, I guess, which I like personally.
Yeah, makes it more unique.
Gives you more editing opportunities, I guess, also to play around with.
It does. It's completely changed the way I edit videos because I don't use screenshots and clips anymore, which always had a very specific thing that I would do to them. I've now got like little popsicle sticks that I've got to animate.
I love
and do
those
fun stuff
actually. I'm
with.
going in a bit of a
Yeah,
different
it's very
direction,
cute.
but I love your popsicles. They're really cool.
Yeah, I also look forward to seeing your take on it because I know it's not going to be exactly the same and there are probably going to be really interesting things that you'll do that I never thought of.
I'm very curious actually how it's going to turn out. Like in once, like the first Luffy and the first Gomu Gomu no Mi is done. So
Ooh.
Nice.
they look really nice. Yeah.
I actually stole one of your ideas as part of this art call out. I also have a 3D artist working with me.
Cool.
And I've asked her to make a variety of like One Piece objects in 3D and have a whole ton of clips. So I've got a devil fruit, a poneglyph, a Vivia card. I've got Enma as well.
Nice.
And I think that's it for now. That's a much slower process, but they're really fun
They're
things to have every now
Yeah,
and
they
then.
are fun. Anyways, back to flights.
Back to flying. I hate first class. After seeing all of these videos, I just don't think that the money is worth it. Even if you had it, even if it was negligible, the amount that it's milking from you is for
Really?
what it gives you.
If I had the money to spare, I would want to do it, I think. Even though I think it's milking really hard. I love flying, genuinely. I'm a really big fan of flying. I love the experience of like going somewhere and like I love this. What pisses me off the most have you ever been on a flight where they ask you to close your window because it's supposed to be dark? I'm the person who's arguing really hard because I'm like, I want to enjoy the view, honestly.
No, it's sleep time, Manu.
I don't know. I think if I had, like, I've never had the experience, neither business nor
That's very
first
bizarre.
class.
I've never heard anyone say that they enjoy flying. I think you may be the first person that said, I actually enjoy the experience of flying.
All of these people I've been watching have that Manu mentality. They are all planophiles. They love everything about planes. During the flight, they're usually either looking out the window or looking at the plane cameras that are scanning the ground and such like that. So they're like really heavily into planes, which I think is important because if you're making it your YouTube career and you're spending all this money, you kind of need to be passionate about it.
I feel like it's the only time when I actually watch a full movie in its full length, probably outside the cinema.
I would agree with that. Me too.
I usually fall asleep. I'll turn
So
a movie
lucky.
on so that I can sleep.
Oh, you are so lucky.
For, like,
it takes me
background
like
noise.
3 movies before I can get to sleep.
Nah, oh god. I mean, I would still like to try business or first class just for the experience. I don't think even if I had that money, I don't think it's something that I would choose to do every time.
When Joy Girl does have 1 million subscribers and like 500,000 views per video, I would highly recommend doing business rather than first class.
First. All right,
Because
I'll
I think
take
that
advice.
gives you 90% of the benefits for definitely not as much
For
cost.
90% of the cost.
For 99% of the
With
cost.
Emirates, yes. With other airlines, it's
No,
different.
yeah. I mean, in general, I guess it's an argument you could make for people who do make vlog content and stuff like that. The big benefit is, I guess you could, but technically, if you fly somewhere and work there, you could write it off as a business expense.
Well, that's apparently where most of the first class passengers come from. There are people who have it stipulated in their contracts that they have to fly first class when available.
That is
Otherwise, there
terrible.
really aren't that many people flying first class.
What monsters are those corporations that force their employees to fly first?
First
here
class
I was looking
again,
forward
and here
to a
I
nice
wanted to
day
be
in
an economy.
I just wanted to be like the rest of them.
And they forced
The
me
scum.
contractually.
I just wanted to be your normal, everyday CEO. I watched an almost 2-hour video today, which is a long time. It was by someone who I'm sure you're both at least somewhat familiar with by the name of... I'm waiting.
Is it 2 hours, you said? We can measure that with my 2 hour.
We can. So Manu has an hourglass that is not exactly 2 hours because I assume all of the sand would need to be on one side for that to happen.
But that's what I was going to say. We're going to have to wait for that sand
So
to
we
load
have to
first.
wait for that to finish.
All right.
All right. Everyone, let's just wait in silence.
All right. Maybe we should just synchronize our claps in the meantime and try to perfect.
Pure silence.
Okay.
The ASMR, the hourglass ASMR. I saw this yesterday, and I will say I paid too much money for this. Way too much money, more than I should have.
I didn't realize how big it was until you were holding it. It actually looks like you could use it as a dumbbell.
That's exactly what it is meant for, probably.
Your workout finishes when the sand finishes dropping.
Little story, like actually one fantastic productivity tip I got from Liam is that, you know, once you start writing and actually get into the flow of things, you usually can write quite a lot of words.
Quite quickly.
And so one good tip that you gave me was just set a timer for like 2 hours or 2 hours 30 or 3 hours, whatever long you think you need, and just write in that time and try to like make something good out of it. And so this is exactly 2 hours, exactly the time I usually try to like set aside for writing. It's like it's gonna be it's gonna be a ritual now.
So the idea behind that tip is for you to get like pretty much 95% of what you need on the page ASAP.
Yeah.
And then afterwards you can spend
Clean
like
up.
a little bit of time fine-tuning it, cleaning it up, I don't know, adding in some jokes or whatever.
Yeah.
But I find it to be so much more efficient than just sitting down, not knowing how long it's going to take, and then going, oh shit, it's 6 o'clock. Oh no, it's bedtime.
No, it's a fantastic tip. It really forces you to like, because it gives you like a artificial time limit. Yeah, which I love.
And my general philosophy is that pressure creates diamonds. I honestly think that I'm funnier when I have a time limit than if
Same.
I just sit down and don't have a time limit.
Because I guess you have a funny thought about a funny line and you just write it down because you need to keep writing instead of like thinking, oh, how can I
Trying
make this
too
funnier?
hard.
Or is this even funny? Yeah.
I wouldn't say that I use that tip personally, but I end up using that tip anyways, just because of the amount of jobs and the amount of stuff I do. I like that's all the time I have. I usually go like after my tutoring shift on Sunday nights. That's usually when I go, okay, all right, I need to get my next video, and then it's like, and I want to sleep at a reasonable time to get my week sorted for the next day.
Of
So
the three of us, I think you benefit from this strategy the most because you've got a wild schedule.
You must already have pretty wild time management, Sophie, honestly.
I would say not by choice, out of necessity.
Not by choice. No.
I think I've developed good time management skills since I was in high school because I started working when I was in high school. And so already my weekends and like after school, I was like pretty short on time to do like whatever studies I needed to do when it got to those final years of high school. And ever since then, it's always just been at a full stress mode.
I can see that.
Yep, that sounds about right.
Anyways, 2 hour video.
Speaking of giving tips about YouTube, this perfectly ties back in to a video that came out today by Super Eyepatch Wolf titled Influencer Courses Are Garbage, The Dark Side of Content Creation.
I saw him post it on Twitter. I didn't watch it yet.
Yeah,
Bit of an
it's
expose.
quite fresh. It is, really. YouTube served this right to me because even though I don't watch Super Eyepatch Wolf ever, I have been interested in creating like a YouTuber course for quite some time. So YouTube, because it knows me better than I know me, said, oh, he's going to enjoy this video. and I did. It was really interesting. There's a lot that I agree with, and there's a lot that I disagree with. For example, what are your thoughts on this? One of the main points that he tries to make in the beginning is no one is capable of teaching YouTube. True, false, or both, or neither.
I guess it gets into a philosophical debate about what he means exactly about, teaching
Take one step
someone
back
on
from
YouTube.
philosophy, but yes.
The philosophy podcast.
I don't think you could teach anyone everything about YouTube, but I think
No, but like,
can
can you teach YouTube in general? I mean, you can't teach anyone everything about medicine either. I would say only few people can. Only if you have had success on YouTube, preferably on multiple channels, I would say.
So yes, this is the argument so the comparison he makes is, let's say you want to become a carpenter and you want to learn how to make chairs, and there are 2 courses available to do that. Would you rather pick the carpenter who has made a couple of thousand of chairs over the past, say, 20 years, or would you pick the carpenter who has made one really good chair one time? Because the argument is that all YouTubers fall into that second category and not the first.
But that's not necessarily true.
Yes, that's why I'm bringing it up.
Wait, they fall into category one good share once? Because most YouTubers have one viral video, basically? Or is that the argument?
Or one
built
channel.
one channel.
Oh,
Yeah.
one channel. Oh, okay. I would agree with that. That's kind of what I was saying earlier. If you have multiple good shares, then I think you can teach.
It was.
I'd agree with that.
But even then, if you've only got 3 chairs, and most of them probably sprang from the success of that first chair that you made, because there's a knock-on effect of already having an audience to start a new channel with.
But then again, I would say it's different for real easy example, you can take someone like Mr. Beast, who, yes, there is a big brand factor to it, but the brand factor alone doesn't explain how across multiple, very different types of channels, gaming, what he does on his main channel, philanthropy, like stuff like that. I would agree that that would count, and I would even go further. I know people who do YouTube consulting stuff who work with multiple channels that have nothing to do with each other, and I think there's just certain truths about YouTube. I think it's kind of like the argument, if you want to go into philosophical direction, Sophie, where it's kind of like, can you teach someone what it means to be good? And you say, oh, well, there is no absolute good, so you can't teach anyone. You can't say what's good or bad, but there's like clear things.
Yeah, only Sith speak in absolutes.
Yeah, exactly. But you can there's absolute, like, you can say it's definitely nicer to do this podcast right now than, I don't know, like lie on a bunch of hot coals or something, or sit on my stove right now with my naked butt. So there's like value judgments you can do, and there's like certain truths about YouTube as well.
So if we canceled this recording, is that what you'd be doing right now?
Yeah, that was
that was my plan. It's still waiting
Manu's
right
like,
now.
all right, okay. Podcast was cancelled. Oh, fuck. Gotta sit on that
Gotta
hot
punish
coal.
myself. No, but
Okay.
I think there's just certain facts about YouTube that are universal truths, and I think then there's luck definitely involved, and then there's also factors that you can't really influence, such as personality, or like the combination of certain factors, and so on and so forth. What phase of YouTube are you in right now?
Yeah, or like even external stuff like One Piece being on a break right now for all of our channels. I'm sure we all experienced a dip.
I agree with that thought that there are several universal truths. To delve a bit deeper into this argument, the Eye Patch Wolf discussion posits that every YouTuber falls into one of these 3 categories. Those that have quote-unquote success, so I don't know, let's say over 100,000, maybe even over 1 million subscribers, and they've been able to make a living off it. In that case, most of them likely got their big breaks maybe 5 to 10 years ago, if you're looking at channels that have over 1 million subscribers, and what they know about how they broke into YouTube is no longer relevant, because it happened so long ago. I mean, think about what our space was like 5 years ago. Could you break into this niche doing what we were doing back then?
Like today?
I wasn't around 5 years ago to
Yes,
actually
today.
be able to comment on
No,
it.
Sophie wasn't born.
I would say yes.
You would say yes.
I would say yes.
Interesting. All right, hold that thought. The next group of people are the ones who got a shocking amount of success in a very short amount of time.
Like the viral people.
Yes, they would have done so purely by viral luck, and therefore aren't really qualified to teach because it's more like winning the lottery. And then there's the third group of creators who haven't succeeded yet and therefore should not be teaching either.
Well,
With
I would agree with that.
With the first and second channels though,
Yes.
you like, especially with the first, you would argue even if everything that was relevant to when they started the channel 5-10 years ago is no longer relevant now, they must be doing something to maintain a certain level of success for them
I
to
would absolutely
continue
agree,
making a
Sophie.
living. Yeah, they were able to evolve evolve their content, you know, I think they have some truths that they can share.
Yeah, I think the metric of subscribers is outdated in general.
Instead of subscribers, let's say views then.
Yeah.
Instead of 1 million subscribers, let's say that you're doing, I don't know, consistently 300,000 views or something.
Where did you get that example from?
Where did I get that example?
Lee's benchmark of success.
Let's make it even more round. Let's say 100,000 views per video. I mean, this might be horribly out of date, but I think that's the point where you can start looking at, you know, like quitting your job and doing something full time. I don't know if that's agreeable. I also am fully aware that I quit my full-time theater job when my videos were at about the 30,000 each level.
I mean, again, like I would go back to the point I made earlier. There's definitely areas about YouTube that are very much teachable. And I personally think I am here where I am today with my channel, at least, because I went out and like tried to suck up as much information about YouTube and filmmaking and storytelling and whatever it is as I can. I would say that if you in a world where you had access to the knowledge of like top creators who maybe don't share all of their secrets, I think if you're willing to work for it, it's absolutely possible to engineer success on YouTube.
I agree with you, and I think I agree with you because to some degree we have both engineered it. Like I was very much like you. I was a YouTube sponge, just trying to suck up all of the delicious knowledges from everywhere and apply it. Usually have that strategy fail in some way, but learn an important lesson along the way and just sort of struggle up the mountain as I continue to do. What would be the main area of universal truths then? What is an example of a universal truth?
I'd say how to present what your content is, not in terms of the actual presentation throughout the video, but even before. So I guess it's like the combination of thumbnails, title, and the concept that your audience or your target audience is supposed to get from just viewing that little tile when they're on the YouTube homepage or wherever it is.
So grabbing
I mean, you can break it
attention.
down even more.
Yeah.
It's like a fact, like putting a face with a strong expression in a thumbnail psychologically is just something the human brain is torn towards.
Is that something that is potentially working right now? And over another decade of doing that is going to become less and less
That's
effective.
human psychology, right?
Yeah.
Similar to good storytelling, right? Which is something that has worked for 5,000 years or longer and will still work in 100 years, probably.
Maybe.
If there's human around.
I think that you are correct, that it is a basic part of human psychology, that the old YouTube face, the right now, is quite effective, but I think that effect will dull and potentially may already be dulling.
Well, the effect dulls
over.
because that's the game with YouTube in general in a positive way, I think. Someone finds out something that works and the smart people get on the train and do it as well until so many people are on the train that everyone, like, it's kind of become the new baseline.
Yes, and so
Exactly.
if you were teaching a YouTube course, would you include that part about the face, knowing that it could be a thing that's for now?
Absolutely, because it's kind of like making good content. You could say just making good content is not enough to grow on YouTube, which is true, but that if you don't have good content, you're not even playing the game, so you still need a course on how to make good content, even if it doesn't give you a competitive advantage. It's like in a YouTube course, you could also just teach the basics of what even gets you to the starting line, and then there's the section of like, how can you carve out your own, how can you differentiate yourself is another question to actually succeed. But I think it's absolutely essential to learn the basics, because if you don't have the basics, you won't even be able to race, right? I would argue.
And so, so I guess to say that the baseline or to get to the basics is that you need to target people's psychology and their emotions. But the question becomes, is a face necessary for that? And that's what I was saying, that it's about how you package the video. It might not necessarily be using a face, but you still have to use something between your title and thumbnail to generate some sort of emotion.
But then I would argue you do have to know the rules to break them, even if it sounds cheesy.
What a bad boy we have here. If you're not making content, you're not in the game. You gotta know the rules to break them. Manu's 4-week course.
Wouldn't you agree, Liam? Like, wouldn't you say in order not to use a face, you should at least know what the face thumbnail is?
No, I agree with you. I think that if you're gonna break the rules, you should be doing it on purpose instead of doing it haphazardly and not even understanding that there's a rule being broken.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what you mentioned Charlie before. I think that's what he does. He knows the rules and breaks them absolutely on purpose. And as a result, his videos pop out, even though they look like absolute trash quality from the thumbnail alone. That's why they pop out at you.
Exactly, yeah. But he knows the game. It's not like he can't make a proper thumbnail.
Yeah.
No, he definitely could. He's just, he's one step ahead of the game.
Exactly.
So, as part of this video, Mr. Eyepatchwolf also did something that I don't think I'm particularly a fan of. Either of you, I mean, we did our streaming episode, but do both of you know the name Ninja, aka probably the biggest streamer in all of the now?
Yes.
I think I've come across.
Blue hair guy, right?
Yeah, blue hair guy. Blue hair, headband sometimes.
Yes.
Yeah, he's a ninja. So, Ninja made a course on how to essentially be successful on Twitch. And Super Eyepatchwolf used this as a bit of a test. So his methodology was he spent 1 week streaming for however long he wanted, just doing whatever he wanted. And then he spent 1 week following Ninja's advice. How do you think it went?
I'm gonna guess that it didn't do very well compared to when he was just making content based on whatever his own rules are.
I would guess that it improved a bunch using Ninja's rules.
Sophie is correct.
Okay.
The first week was significantly better than the next week. The next week saw a drop of somewhere between 10 to 20% of stats across the board, viewers, subscribers, etc. However, I think this is a really bad experiment because
from a statistic perspective,
I think it's very flawed because Eyepatchwolf wasn't taking Ninja's advice from zero. He's already an established creator. He had an audience that he could just go, hey, you, come over here.
Yeah.
And I've actually got an audience, and maybe the advice doesn't work as well because he doesn't have that struggle of breaking in. But also, I think his stats would have lowered in the second week, even if he'd stuck to what he was doing because of the launch effect.
Yeah.
Whenever you launch something, it's big and exciting,
Yep.
and then you see a drop.
Like this podcast.
Yeah. We launched it was exciting, and
And now Manu seriously contemplates maybe sitting on those hot coals
Sitting on a
might
hot
actually
stove for the
be
content.
there's an episode in that where he'll just sit on hot
Fair
coals the
enough.
entire time.
the entire
As an
time.
endurance
How long can
test.
we last?
Maybe warm coals.
Warm coals.
Maybe just like our feet.
I feel like, again, speaking of breaking the rules and going meta, I feel like that would be a really interesting channel where you just do all these challenges videos, but really mediocre. I sat on warm coals for 10 hours. It's like, this is slightly unpleasant.
Feels like I've peed myself.
I counted from 1 to 100.
1 to 1,000, because it needs to be slightly uncomfortable.
I counted from 1 to 100 while sitting on warm coals.
Spending 40 minutes in ice.
And if you could film it dramatically with all sorts of
With
music.
dramatic music. Dun, 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 dun.
The flashes.
See, that's breaking the rules by making fun of the rules, which is what Charlie does with his thumbnails.
Yeah. One of the parts about this video that really interested me was something I've been struggling with, which is the prolific scammy nature of these online courses. And
We've
one
talked
of
about
the
this,
yes, one of the great examples that was brought up was one of the Jake Paul influencer courses. I imagine you're both familiar with Jake Paul. He's the one that makes
Yes.
Logan Paul look reasonable
And they're
in
related.
comparison. They are related. They are brothers. Very, very wealthy brothers. So Jake Paul, I don't know how else to say this. It was just scummy as fuck. He basically claimed that his course was better than going to college, and he verbally encouraged people to drop out of school to become YouTubers.
Wow.
And of course, pay the money to take this course. Of course. Otherwise, there's no point in dropping out.
Which, of course, a lot of people did.
Yeah, because his audience is so young and so numerous, and I think it's really dangerous when you start to get young teenage minds involved in something like that. It's something that I honestly struggle with when I'm trying to advise you on the odd occasion, Sophie, because you've got so much going on in your real life. You're becoming a lawyer. As much as I want to tell you to
thing?
focus on YouTube, more,
yes.
I can't bring myself to say, put this whole lawyer thing to one side and talk about freaking fictional pirates, damn it. Because you've got this whole life that you're developing.
And you should also develop, I would Are you?
I mean, yeah, it's something that I do plan on continuing to keep both side by side if I can. I do wonder if it does become a case where I'm sort of like becoming mediocre in both rather than
No, I don't
succeeding.
think so. I don't think necessarily.
The jack of all trades,
Yes.
master of none situation.
Yeah, but I would strongly recommend at least getting yourself into a position where, if necessary, you could always jump back into law or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, I made it a point to finish my master's also before I actually
Yeah,
dedicated
exactly.
myself fully to YouTube. And also, I would argue, like, obviously, if you actually, like, professionalize it like me and Liam have and other YouTubers do, yes, you have more time to actually improve your content and, like, play the game properly. But I will also say I think there's a name for this effect where basically when you do something kind of, like, on a whim, oftentimes that's when, like, people who do something on a whim, they don't even try, but they do really well. There is actually less, like, an effect like that. And I think the same goes for YouTube. As long, like, if you're having fun and, like, it's just a passion that it is a hobby and you're not fully reliant on it, can really help, like, you being easier about it, not over obsessing over decisions, whether this is the right thing to do or the right thumbnail to do. You just do it.
I think mentally it would help quite a bit, because if you go like, oh, I'm quitting my job, this is going to be my job, that would be incredibly stressful if you're not already in a position where you can support yourself that way.
I'm curious, Liam, how's it for you? Like, because I'm convinced that if I had started YouTube saying, I'm going to quit my job now and I'm going to become a YouTuber, I would not have made it, I'm pretty sure. I think the fact that I started this as a hobby and it was kind of like fun to do, and it was something I enjoyed doing on the side, and like it was kind of like playing a video game, almost grinding and trying to get better and stuff like that. That's what allowed me to even grow in the first place, because I was willing to take risks.
My YouTube journey took me like 3 whole years before I saw a single cent from it. So I agree with you. If I'd quit my job when I had that idea in 2015 and gone, yep, this is gonna
All
be
in.
it, I would have given up within a month because I wouldn't have been able to pay rent.
So a certain sense of like ease and fun and, being open for failure that you just don't have if you over obsess and expect, oh yeah, I know this course and I've read everything and I'm definitely gonna get at least 100,000 views and subs in the first 2 or 3 months. Like, if you go in with like expectations like these, it's not gonna work out most likely.
Even 10,000 views, even 1,000 views, expectations, any expectations are pretty bad to have at the very beginning. You've just got to really focus on breaking down that brick wall in front of you, essentially. Going from 0 to 1. It's so much harder than, I think, going from one number to any other number.
The first 100 views, the first 1,000 views, I think, were probably the roughest.
Yeah, I would say, like, probably in the grand scheme of things, getting 100,000 subscribers on YouTube is probably the biggest achievement you can have. Also, what I've heard from like YouTubers who have crossed 1 million already, I mean, I'll be curious, Liam, to hear what you think. But a lot of people that I've talked to who have over 1 million subs, what they say is the 100,000 was the hardest and the most significant. The one you celebrate the most. It's the one that pushes you in a completely different league, because it's, as you said earlier, Liam, for many people it means I can actually do this somewhat full-time. I can actually make a living out of this. And it's like building that first base audience of 100,000 people that is way harder to build than 1 million from there.
Yeah, there's more tied to it. Like you said, with that kind of level, you can start going, this could be a job. Like, it's more life-changing than, I would say, getting to the 1 million, which I haven't done yet. But I'm imagining that because that's just a number changing. Like, my life isn't changing as a result of
it's a bit of scale, but
And even YouTube recognizes that. That's why they give you that little play button. They don't give it to you before 100,000.
No, it's very rough having to get to 100,000 to get that.
I'm still grinding away.
Yep, you're more than halfway there, aren't you?
Yes, I am more than halfway there, but...
Yeah, you'll be there in no time.
And by no time, we mean sometime. Not that much time.
It will take some time, but
not 0 time.
I have a question for both of you. Let me ask you this that I've written down here.
Nah.
Are you addicted to analytics?
Yes.
I would say less than you guys are.
I've grown less addicted.
But I think that's to my detriment.
Interesting. 2 conflicting perspectives here. Fascinating. Manu, why are you addicted?
That's most fascinating. Well, I mean, I used to over-obsess over a lot of data, and I still study the data a lot, which has helped in some ways, and in some ways it's been good for my content, I would say. It's been not good for my personal life. Because the fact that I mean, it's gotten a bit better. Like, what I would do is just, I over-obsess over, everything with my content. And it helps me because I learn a lot about my content and what people enjoy and what works and what not and so on and so forth. On the downside, I'm like, if I see a video, like I upload a video and it's a 8 out of 10, then I have to make it a real effort to like mentally completely detach myself from work that day. Otherwise, I'm just gonna be in a foul mood the rest of the day. So
I agree. I don't think I'm quite as strict as you in that, but if I see a 10 out of 10, that is affecting the rest of my day, potentially even some of the next day. So I need to make that effort to go, okay, I'm not opening up YouTube Studio for at least 24 hours.
Especially like the worst thing is when you just freshly upload a video and you feel like, I'm not sure about you, Liam, I'm not sure if you ever upload videos where you're like, this is definitely not going to do pretty well.
Oh, yeah. Sometimes, yes.
Because I think most of the time, at least, you're kind of like, I have a good feeling about this. I think this video topic is very interesting and I'm very happy with the thumbnail, and you upload it and it does terribly and you're sitting there like, where did it all go wrong?
I also have it happen the other way around, where I do have videos where I'm like, oh my god, I just kind of gave up on this thumbnail concept and the video itself is kind of, it's alright, and then it just does well out of nowhere and I'm like, why the fuck do I even try?
I've had a case where I made a video in one day. Like I wrote my notes, I recorded, because this was back when I wasn't like writing the entire script. And so I wrote my notes, I recorded it, edited it, released it all in one day, made the thumbnail based on a thumbnail that I had made about a year ago and just changed some things about it just because I needed content that week. And I wasn't expecting much from it. And it is probably still my highest, most watched video in like my entire YouTube career. And it's like, holy crap, like all these videos where I've actually put in so much energy, so much effort and so much work, where they haven't performed like nearly half as well. So I've had cases like that, but also really interestingly in this past, like the past 2 weeks, 2 videos that started out at both at number 10s have now gone to number 1 and number 2. So So that's been really interesting for me.
That is like a rocket ship. Performance.
Oh, that's
That's really amazing. I don't think I've ever had that situation where something has started out so low and just
10 to 1,
up.
me neither. It's never been quite that.
That's some amazing mobility. Good job.
I did have to change my thumbnail and title.
Do you use the YouTube Studio app?
Yes.
Delete that.
Delete it.
Delete that.
It's literally, it's the most toxic app you can find. YouTube Studio app basically is only the worst parts of YouTube Studio. It only gives you the data that don't tell you anything, that you over obsess about, but it doesn't give you any of the actually interesting deep dive data. So it's just something you flick on your phone and check how it's doing, and it just makes you sad all the time.
I recently got a new phone and I just haven't bothered to download it.
No.
Really?
It's much easier to just like look at your desktop, laptop tabs on YouTube.
It does definitely provide you with so much more data, and I can definitely understand that it would be useful data, but it's just so much that I don't think I really fully comprehend how to really dissect what that data means when I'm looking at it on the desktop.
But then you don't need the data of the app also. I mean, if you don't feel bad about looking at it, then good for you, but I feel like the experience 99% of creators have is that it's like, is it still 1 out of 10? No, it went to 2. Why did it go to 2? That's
why I asked if you were addicted to analytics, because we talk a lot about these 10 out of 10s, these like, oh, it's horrible, my career is over. But the 1 out of 10s can be equally as detrimental, because they give you this beautiful shot of analytics-based happiness. Instead of making you depressed for the day, they kind of carry you for the day. And I think I've become dependent on seeing those shots of like 5 and above to like judge how I'm feeling on any given day.
Yeah, it's fucking terrible. Yeah.
It is. I honestly think I'm addicted to that first YouTube Studio page.
Yeah, same. Absolutely. It was especially difficult. I think that's what you meant earlier, Sophie. During the break, it wasn't as bad that it was like a terrible dip for me. Same for you, Liam, where it wasn't like a terrible like downturn or anything, but it was definitely not a growth spurt either, I would say before. And so there were a lot of videos that were just like videos were performing all kind of the same, and some a little bit better and some a little bit worse. So there were a lot of like 5, 6, 7, 8 that then grew steadily to like the normal level, but like that just plowed me every single week for the last week.
Yeah, something I've been seeing a lot recently is a video opening up between 8 to 10 and then
climbing
moving up a couple of spaces. Yeah, not on like Sophie scale, but that's been the trend during this hiatus for me.
Same. I started off a lot with like 8, 9, and then moved towards 5 or 4 or 6 or something. Yeah.
And I think I can understand that because talking to people like in the Joy Fleet, a lot of people were saying that they're not on YouTube that much, or they're definitely not checking out One Piece content on YouTube because they're giving themselves a break during the break month, which I can understand. How dare you? Your brain must be One Piece always. And that also made me sort of actually slow down. I had been intending to still keep up with my 2 video a week schedule during the One Piece break. But then when I saw that people weren't actually on YouTube, or at least not in One Piece YouTube that much, I took that time to sort of focus on actually making better content instead and spending more time doing that. And so it's like 1 video a week.
Content, Sophie. Bad.
Better.
Bad, Sophie.
No.
Don't
Sophie,
make better content.
more, not better.
More, not quality, Sophie.
Both. No, it must be both. More quality in a shorter amount of time.
I think in retrospect, you've got the right mindset, because if the audience isn't here, because we're talking like we're now in week 3-4 of the hiatus, interest in One Piece is noticeably lower on my end. It may be better just to wait it out and make a video when interest is back,
Right.
Exactly.
than to keep making some declining videos and sending YouTube the wrong messages.
Yeah.
It may be better. It may not. It may not make a difference at all.
It has meant, though, that my subscriber growth has sort of stagnated, which has been a bit painful for me because now that I am at that halfway mark to the 100,000, I'm just like, I really want to get to the 100,000 mark.
Well, slowing down and making better content, honestly, probably not the way. Speeding up and making better content is the way.
I can empathize with you though, Sophie. I know that Liam is like in his own world when it comes to subscription, making people press that button. But I also have like over the break and also a bit before that even. I guess the chapters before were pretty good. But like I had like after the initial like year 5 thing, I had a bit of a dip in subscribers and then it went up again. And now through the 4 weeks, it definitely went down again as well.
Yeah.
And from what I usually do in a month or in a week. So I do feel you.
It's all right. That return is going to be glorious.
I've had a dip in views, but I've remained exactly the same in terms of subscribers.
Bitch.
Wow.
I don't know how it's so ridiculously stable. I think it's just the legacy content of having like 900 videos that are working
Yeah.
simultaneously in the background.
Yeah.
Do you feel at this point, because for me, definitely most of my new subs come from new videos, I would say. Do you think most of your subs come from like, or a majority comes from older videos or also new videos?
From what I understand, it's about 50-50.
Like, that's pretty strong, I would argue.
That's great,
Like
I
that
think.
50% of your subs come from old videos working for you is pretty good, I think.
Yeah, I think so too. But it also makes sense because I feel like Liam is probably, your channel probably has the most evergreen videos out of a lot of the One Piece content creators that I know.
Quantity-wise, for sure.
Yeah.
One can compete.
Not quality-wise. Quantity-wise, though, I've got you covered. Which sometimes, honestly, that is all that matters. You know,
Yeah.
someone has 10 minutes that they want to fill with something. And if they've already watched all of the O'Hara videos, guess I'll settle for Grand Line Review, mate.
Didn't mean it that way. No need to go so salty.
No, that's not how I meant it.
Oh, it sounded so. That sounded so salty.
No, it's not. I honestly believe that, though. I think that's what the scale of quality is. You, slightly higher quality, me, much bigger quantity.
Oh, interesting. Okay, so for me, it's actually slightly above 50% old videos.
Really?
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
I can believe that definitely because you've got a lot of like super viral hits that probably still perform relatively
Yes.
well in the background.
I did not expect that, actually. I would have bet that like 60, 70, 80% of my subs come from. That is very interesting.
That's quite a lot. Good. That's the
Yeah.
power of old content.
I guess so, yeah. Which is kind of the curse of One Piece right now, I guess. That we're all forced to make not evergreen content, but what is this week about? It's not relevant anymore. I mean, that's one way I enjoyed the break a lot because you didn't have to worry about your video that you're just producing being obsolete.
Yes.
Yeah. But at the same time, you had to worry about it kind of just being obsolete on arrival because there was no
Right.
like new
Interest in it?
buzz about
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Right.
I saw something very interesting on Twitter in the past week.
Boops.
Manu, I don't know if you've seen it, Sophie. I think you have.
Anime
But
boobs.
there was a piece of fan art done by someone named Noobmaster172. Did you see it, Manu, or should I send it to you?
Please do. I've not seen it. Is it banana fan art?
It is banana fan art.
Let's go.
I know which one you're talking about.
You do.
Is it funny?
Yes.
We need more
I
fan
will
art.
send it to you on Twitter.
So good. What the hell?
It's a rendition of Sophie hitting herself with a bat whilst talking about school sports,
So
I believe
funny.
it was.
Which I think was,
is
I think it's on the request of Manu, who asked someone to get that animated. And so we've had it cartoonified instead.
I love the faces that she gave us.
Yes. Like, especially Sophie just looking like, ugh. Like after Sideshow Bob.
Mine is this really creepy, wholesome laugh. Like I'm like basically orgasming at your misery.
Yeah. And I just look high.
Rightly so. Oh, there's more.
I think they're a big fan of you, Manu, because they've
Yes,
also
this is Manu alone.
made a drawing of
This
just
is
you.
dope. I'm gonna
Steel
retweet
Fox.
this. This looks awesome. It's so good.
It is very like Game of Thrones.
Yes.
So I also have another piece of fan art for both of you, which came from a very unexpected source for me. Neither of you have seen this.
I thought it was what Archer did of me.
Oh, the one about you at the reverie.
That was a good one. Arta did some interesting reverie ones
Yeah.
Yes.
of all of us. No, one of my sponsorship managers actually watches this podcast now. Sort of infiltrated because originally she had to check Grand Line review videos, and from that, Blue Banana Podcast gets suggested, and it's actually something
that's
that
good.
Shout
is
out to her.
accessible
We're
to her.
very, since we're
Shout
all
out.
money whores and we're willing to bend over, please sponsor us.
We will all bend over and take
Yes.
whatever it is you
Yes.
want to sponsor us with.
Yes. Raid Shadow
Yeah.
Legends, you say?
Oh, Raid.
Oh, Raid, don't.
Oh, Mech Arena. Manscaped, how could you?
Manscaped, I mean, they're cool.
They are
wish-
very cool.
I wish they came back for more. Anyway, sorry, please continue.
In any case, yeah, shout out to Kay, who has actually become a fan of this podcast,
Oh,
Yeah, shout
weirdly
out to you,
enough,
Kay.
and is also an artist and has drawn us this lovely picture that I'm going to put in Twitter.
oh wow. I love the bananas floating around.
Yes, these like magical floaty bananas.
This is great.
I feel like I look like Connor. Is that just me?
You do look a bit like
Yeah.
I look like the love child of me and Connor. It's really cool, though. It's really good. Holy hell.
It's really cool. My
Yeah.
favorite face is Sophie's because you've got like the most detail on you with like the little shine on your lips.
Oh,
and
yeah, yeah,
everything.
yeah,
So, like,
that's
there's a
pretty
little bit of
sick.
blush and everything.
That's
Yeah.
so cool.
It's cool, yeah. No, very good at faces. So I thought that was quite fun, and that's what reminded me.
Did she just send that to you privately?
Yeah, she was like, "I did some art," and I was like, "Cool."
Yeah,
We
fuck
should-
yeah.
Maybe we should make that the banner. And I was like, why is
Maybe.
Connor the blue banana?
Yeah. So we've replaced Manu.
Aw.
It's now the Blue Banana Podcast featuring Sea Dog VA.
Yeah.
Do I get to do trash
Bend
test? then,
over.
or-
Here, that could be a good trade for you.
Maylin,
Gonna ditch us.
are you listening? No, that's really sick.
For anyone who doesn't know, Manu is actually with the same group as the Trash Taste
Oh,
guys,
yes,
which
yes.
cover a lot of people in Japan.
Yes, I leech off the trash taste money.
But you did not take the opportunity to come to Sydney
No.
with the rest of them.
I did not.
They're
Well,
currently in Sydney right now.
I was
they
not
came for
invited to
SmashCon.
SmashCon. Yeah, we're not big enough, Liam. We have to grind our way there to SmashCon.
I'm sorry, speak for yourself.
Were you invited?
It's true.
I
No,
didn't
I was
think
not
so.
invited. And if I was, honestly,
I wouldn't have come.
I know that sounds petty, like, oh, I didn't want to go anyway.
Anyway.
Didn't
But
want to come to your stupid con in the first place.
honestly, the idea of being a guest at a convention and like having to speak in front of hundreds, maybe 1,000 people, that sounds terrifying to me. And I have very little interest in doing something like that.
I think it'd be an interesting experience, but I totally understand where you're coming from.
If I was to do it, and this would not happen at the moment because we're not big enough, but it would need to be like a Blue Banana style thing where I had other people with me. and not
Right.
just me.
Panel kind of,
Because
yeah.
me just being me does not work. Not live.
I'm very actually like I really strongly respect that, like seeing, because I mean I've hung out with the guys from Trash Ties obviously a bunch of times now, just as friends, but like seeing them how professional they do all of that stuff is really like it's really cool. It's really awe-inspiring, I think, because I think you probably get better with it as with everything, like putting your face on camera and stuff like that. You get used to it, I guess.
Is that how you do it?
Going on camera.
Jumps into
But
my
no,
role.
I'm genuinely, like, as you say, like, that's a very different step going from face cam to sitting on a sofa in front of a big live audience and talking and trying to be funny.
Even though, like, I put out videos that, on average, maybe 200,000 unique viewers will watch, like, it would be an entirely different thing to have even a fraction of them actually watching me live.
Yep.
Like, that would terrify me. Don't like it.
But it's something I would, like, I was very excited to go to Anime Expo, only that visa-wise,
You
it
didn't,
just
though.
didn't work out. I did not.
Because of Manu's hidden heritage.
Yeah, my hidden heritage.
Manu
It doesn't allow me to get
is
a normal
from
visa
a
to the US.
bad place somewhere
Bad
in the
country.
world.
Or at
We
least the
will not
place that
disclose.
the US deems a bad place.
Germany.
Ah, yes, they're old enemies.
But yeah, no, I would absolutely agree.
Speaking of Germany, Manu, during my my plane porn watching, one of the places I've seriously considered going is Germany. Do you have any travel advice for the fatherland?
I would say that if you were ever to go to Germany, I would probably travel back just to travel around with you, genuinely.
Aw, that's very
If you
sweet.
wanted
very
that, if you
sweet
wanted
thing
that.
to say.
Liam says no, and Manu's like, I didn't want to travel with you anyway.
I'm very biased, obviously, but I do think that my hometown of Munich is absolutely stunning. I would strongly recommend you going there. Obviously, Oktoberfest is what we're most famous for, but it's really nice most seasons, I would say, because it's very close to the mountains, like the Alps. It's very close. There's a couple of lakes between Munich and the mountains that are beautiful in summer. Winter is obviously nice. You have like the Christmas markets. If it's not, spicy flu season, you can go skiing. In the summer, you have the lakes. We have a giant garden that goes throughout the city. That's really nice in summer. There's like all the students and like a ton of people like just chilling there, going swimming and stuff in the middle of the city. Really cool. Doesn't feel like the city. And Berlin is very different vibe than Munich. Completely different vibe, but also very much worth it. A lot more party, like more clubby, more, I would say.
That is the
hipster, maybe?
impression I have of Berlin.
That's
just
what I was
via
going to say.
stereotypes.
Yes.
Yeah, they're very true. It's more drugs, more clubs. People are a lot more fun, I would say, than in Munich, which is a lot more like calm, I would
Shots
say.
fired, Munich.
And then Hamburg also has its very own atmosphere. I would say Hamburg reminds me a bit more of like maybe Ams. Now I'm gotta be careful, but me personally, it reminds me a bit more of like Amsterdam. Also mostly because of the canals and stuff like that.
Okay.
But it also has its like very unique like style. But yeah, in the south of Germany, like Bavaria, like the Munich area, there's all these like castles that you can see, like Neuschwanstein and stuff like that. A lot of stuff to do. Otherwise, like I don't have any secret tips. Like there's a lot of like beautiful like smaller cities.
Give me your German secrets.
Yeah. Like Heidelberg is really nice, I personally think. Is like a very famous for its university. Now I gotta be careful. Is that where the printing press was invented? Was that Heidelberg or was that somewhere else?
I am
I did
not
not
the
know
person
that.
to ask. I can't even pronounce your castle. What is it?
Neuschwanstein.
Neuschwanstein. Neuschwanstein.
Oh, I'm butchering that. But I do want to go because it looks amazing.
Oh, it was in Mainz. Never mind.
Yeah, I was actually going to do an exchange in Berlin when I was in
Yeah.
university, but then I
you
ended
told
up
me,
switching
yeah.
out of my degree, so I didn't end up going ahead with it. I've always wanted to go to Berlin,
We can make a Germany episode.
Banana in Germany.
where we will not be flying first class.
No, we will not. It will be pure economy. It will be economy. It will be Liam and Sophie 99ing.
Maybe we could pool our money together, buy like one first class ticket, hide Sophie in the carry-on, and somehow
in one of those dog boxes.
and every time someone gets curious, you just tap the box and Sophie goes, "Bork, bork."
I actually have a funny story. Like, my parents. So I like my family dog, like, which is staying with my family. My parents want to take her on like a vacation trip, and she's never like even though we've always had dogs, like my two dogs basically, but like dogs while I was growing up, like we never have taken a dog like by plane somewhere, only by car, because it's like a lot of stress for the dogs, and also like you have to do a lot of stuff. But this time, it's a longer trip for them, so they wanted to take the dog along. And so what they did, it's kind of, I mean, it makes sense, but like when they described it to me, it sounded very demeaning. Basically, what they do is so that the dog wouldn't be stressed out. They wanted to get it used to the box and everything, and getting it used to like being in that space.
I know where this is going.
So what they did is like they got a box, and like whenever the dog would go into the box, they're now giving it like like something nice to eat until the dog feels really comfortable, like just being in a closed box, which is the right
that's how you
thing
crate
to
train
do.
them.
Yeah, which is also way better because they will feel more comfortable in the actual plane, other than just like. But it's still, I felt I couldn't help but feel like it's kind of fucked up, anyways.
Maybe there are some people who do like extended crate training where they make sure to keep the dog in there for hours, and that's kind of good. Like one of my neighbors did that, and they were like keeping the dog outside as well, away from the family, and I felt really bad for the dog. Yeah, but,
I know you do that for puppies sometimes, apparently, where like so they're not scared of the new place. You basically have like when you take it away from the mother, when it's big enough, you basically take like a blanket that has the smell still of the mom, and you put it like into a small box, so it has like a smaller space that feels like familiar, so it's not too scared of like a big house suddenly.
Yeah. I mean, that makes sense.
Sophie, quick tips, because I've asked Manu, if I was to go to Korea, what's your travel advice?
My travel advice would be to definitely go to Seoul, because that's where, I mean, obviously it's the main capital city, so that's where everything is. Again, very similar to Berlin, that's where the nightlife is.
The drugs?
Not so much drugs, unless it's like very down low, because drugs, like in many parts of Asia, in Korea, is strictly forbidden.
Sounds like Berlin's winning at the moment.
Yeah, so sorry, can't help you there, Liam. But in terms of like really nice scenery, Jeju Island is really, really nice. Like again, also beautiful mountain, both in winter, as long as you're not going in like the thick of winter where you might get snowed out, which is something that happened to me before, and also not in the dead heat of summer because you'll get a heat stroke, which is something that I've also done. But anyways, both times I've still enjoyed it.
If we went to Korea, would you guys be willing to get a banana tattoo, a small one?
Yes.
For the podcast?
I would.
Sure, depends where.
Cool.
I don't have a lot of available real estate.
Butt cheeks.
Butt cheeks.
I'm a blue banana.
Right on the hole as well, so you've got to spread it to see it.
No, we've got to do it like, you guys have to be on either butt cheek, and I have to be right in the middle.
Oh, yeah,
like our little panels.
Yeah, me on the right or the left?
Right.
God, how am I doing this? Yeah. Me on the right, Manu on the left, Sophie
right on the
my
crack.
anus. It's decided.
Okay. It is decided now.
All right.
Great. And on that note, it's also decided that this will be the end of the podcast for this week. Thank you so much for joining us as always. If you want to become a member, we have special members only videos, which are... they're pretty alright, let's be honest. They're nothing great, but it helps support us get our banana tattoos on our rectums. So, the money is going to a good place.
It's going for a good purpose.
So thank you guys so much. Say bye, Manu. Say bye, Sophie. Say bye, Liam. Bye.
Bye. Bye.
And we'll see you next time, fully tattooed.